Welcome to the Mompreneur Space live show podcast where we interview inspiring moms from around the world so that you can learn how they overcome their challenges and struggles as mompreneurs. Today's guest is none other than Anna Dowe, who is a best-selling author of Bent Not Broken, a family's guidebook to surviving PTSD, an international speaker and a self-improvement coach. In this episode, our host, Kenneth Chu, and Anna Dowe will be talking about how to get your power, passion and purpose back, and she will be sharing on how she overcame her challenges and struggles. Without further ado, let's welcome Anna.
Hi everyone, welcome to Mompreneur Space live show podcast where we interview mompreneurs from all around the world to share with you how they overcome their mompreneur journey and how they overcome all the challenges. So I'm your host Kenneth Chu, and today's guest is none other than Anna Dowe, who is a best-selling author of Bent Not Broken, a family's guidebook to surviving PTSD, an international speaker and a self-improvement coach. In this episode, we will be talking about how to get your power, passion, and purpose back. And at the same time, she will be sharing on how she overcame her challenges and struggles as a mompreneur. So without further ado, let us welcome Anna. Hi, Anna.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem. Welcome. And it has been a while, and today is episode 92, and finally I got you onto the show. And I'm so happy that without you, in fact, this show will not happen also. So in fact, without you, all these things will not happen. And I'm so excited, at the same time nervous, because having you onto the show means a lot to me, and you know that. So before we start, right, in fact, there's a tradition that every guest get to answer the question of the day posted by the previous guest before we can officially kickstart with the show. So are you ready to receive the question of the day posted by the previous guest before we can officially start the show?
I am, yes.
Okay, good. So the question of the day posted by the previous guest is, how many times have you lost your direction before you were able to succeed? Okay, I repeat again. How many times have you lost your direction before you were able to succeed? Spend some time to think about it, and then I will come back to you, all right?
Yeah.
So, Anna, are you ready with your answer to the question of the day?
I am ready.
Okay, let me repeat it again. So, Anna, the question of the day posted by the previous guest is, how many times have you lost your direction before you were able to succeed? So, what is your answer?
Oh, wow. So many times, way more than I would like. I can't even count as many times, right? I get lost several times in life and several times in a day, right? So it's again a matter of perception, looking at it, is it really failing, or is it really losing your way, or finding the right way, right? So I mean, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm a human. I lose my way and stuff like that, but it's about picking myself up and moving forward.
Wow, that's amazing, and thank you for sharing that answer with us. And now we can officially kickstart the show. But before we start, maybe Anna, you can do a short introduction of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So my name is Anna Dowe, like you graciously already stated, and I am a mompreneur for the close to last 10 years. I'm also a best-selling author of this book behind me, Bent Not Broken, Finding Your Power, Passion and Purpose. It's a family survival guide to PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm also blessed to be able to travel and to speak. So I'm an international speaker and also a self-improvement coach. So I work with women in particular who are struggling and want to do better, have more, be better, better moms, better business women, better citizens, and better women altogether. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. And I'm also a mompreneur. I'm a mom to two wonderful boys, Cyprian, who is going to be 16 next month, and yes, wow, to me too, and Thailand, who is 10.
Wow, amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
And thanks for doing that short introduction of yourself. So we have people that is coming in. We have Begum. Begum that's coming in. She's saying she's from Malaysia, and she said that Anna, you look gorgeous. So yes, and she also shared
Thank
with
you,
us.
Begum. I miss you.
Yes, yes. In fact, we I just WhatsApp her this, I think, this afternoon, and I told her about our live show, and she said, I need to know the link. So that's why I shared with her, and now she's
Oh.
tuning in. And she also shared her answer to the question of the day, that she has numerous times that she lost her direction. So I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs who are tuning in, or the mummies, they are also feeling that at the same time, like numerous time that we have failed, but it does not stop us, and we will still continue on. So at the same time, like I'm curious. In fact, I have not asked. In fact, I asked before, but would like the audience to know, like, how do you get yourself started to write a book on PTSD, as your best-selling book, Bend Not Broken, talks about?
Mhm.
Maybe you can share more with us.
Yeah. So my story is, very, very unique, very painful, and very beautiful at the same time. How did the book come about? So my husband, John, is a military veteran, Canadian military veteran, and he suffers from PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. And when he was first diagnosed, being the inquisitive person that I am, I wanted to learn as much as possible about what the disorder is, how to combat that, how to help him. And I was doing a lot of research and stuff, and I've realized that there were supports for the people who were suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, but they weren't very many resources for the families, for the support systems, and we're affected as much as they are, right? We actually have what's called the secondary trauma, which is we're traumatized from their PTSD. And while I was doing the research, I've realized that there isn't enough supports for spouses or families, right? And that was a clue to me, and I decided that I am going to contribute. I was very passionate about this subject. I'm very passionate till today, and that's how my book started to coming together. And I decided first that I'm going to do it. I found a great publisher, and the rest is history. And now I'm so proud. It's, like I said, my book is displayed here with the rest of my children. It's like my third child.
Yes, yes, and that is where that was how I started and get to know you through the publisher, because you were the publishing consultant when I attended the boot camp of our publisher, Jerry Robert Black Card Books, and that maybe a bit of background for those who are tuning in. That most of you might not know. In fact, Anna was the one who told me that, Kenneth, you need to interview all these mompreneurs that you know, and to feature them into the book, because I never thought of writing a book about interviewing mompreneurs or mothers and share how they overcome their entrepreneurship journey. I just wanted to write a book about myself. I want to write a book about my depression. I want to write about a book about how I overcome all these obstacles and challenges. But Anna was the one who said that, hey, Kenneth, why not? Maybe there are audience that are not interested in your story that much. Then maybe we can start discovering more. And that was when, after knowing, and she helped to connect back the dots and say, hey, you are connecting with all these mompreneurs. Why not interview them? So I would like to thank her over here onto this live show. If not for her, this live show would not have done 92 episodes having her on, and this mompreneur space live show will not even happen, and you will not have connected with so many, help me to connect with so many mompreneurs from all around the world, not just from my book, also this podcast. So thanks a lot, Anna. And
thank you for this. Like I've said it many times before, you give me way too much credit. You have done the work. I was just kind of like guiding you through, right? You know what to do, and you've done it. And look at you now. I'm so proud. So thank you for this. But it's you. It's all you.
Yeah, I think we always have this discussion going on. We give credit to each other, but I guess it's things happen for a reason, and
Yes.
if not for you, and if not that my work that has been done, it still takes two hands to clap. So there's always opportunity out there for us to grab, and whether we want to put in the hard work. Like, it has been 4 years ever since I published my book, and like you
Mhm.
mentioned, like it has grown into something that it became my calling, and I feel
Yeah.
passionate about it, and that is why that also explain why you are passionate about advocating and helping people and being a self-improvement coach. So maybe you can share more with us, like, especially during this pandemic, I realized that more and more
Mm.
people are getting more depressed. There's more anxiety. People are getting very angsty, like they get frustrated very easily. So why do you think that more and more people are suffering from all this? And is that a sign of PTSD?
So it could be, absolutely. So let's start with maybe, in few words, I can explain what PTSD is, or post-traumatic stress disorder. So in a nutshell, it's an anxiety disorder that may develop after someone has experienced or has witnessed a traumatic event, right? So, I mean, like based on my own story, you might have heard, or your audience might have heard about the soldiers coming from a war zone and developing this condition. Um, this is actually, what a lot of people feel, or actually think that this is only related to soldiers, right? Or the first responders. Well, actually, it can happen to anybody at any point, right? Like, I mean, I know of someone falling off the bicycle and developing a post-traumatic stress disorder, or being in an accident and developing post-traumatic stress disorder, having all kinds of assaults or whatnot, and that could also become PTSD. And then going back to your question, now with the pandemic and people witnessing or going through their loved ones being sick or passing away, or us being in a lockdown and kind of being removed from what we thought was normal, or what we knew was normal, right? Like, working from home for a lot of people was like, oh my gosh, like how will I do it? Or helping your kids with school stuff, being online and stuff like that, and just kind of being all together in one environment when we're used to going our separate ways during the day. If somebody is prone to mental challenges or depression or anxiety, this is all might lead to post-traumatic stress disorder. So hope that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely it answers. So what is the difference between like depression and PTSD, or
Mhm.
is a subset of that?
So they're intertwined, right? Just if somebody has depression, that doesn't mean they have PTSD, but PTSD is very tightly connected. Pretty much everybody who has PTSD also has depression, right? It's a condition of the brain where there's chemical imbalance. It's a very true thing. A lot of people don't understand, and there's a lot of stigma everywhere in the world around mental health, where it's a invisible disability. A lot of people don't understand it because you can't see it. Like, if somebody's missing a limb, it's like, okay, well, somebody's missing a limb. Or if somebody had a heart attack, well, they had a physical condition. But with mental health, we can't see it. But those conditions are very real, and also it's a biological imbalance of the brain. So again, I hope that answers your
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
I kind of
definitely,
got carried
definitely,
away.
it helps a lot
Mhm.
in defining and understanding. Like, you talk about the stigma about mental wellness, mental
Yes.
health, because in fact, before knowing you, I don't even know what is PTSD at all, and
Mhm.
because it's not being, it's kind of like a taboo in Singapore,
Yes.
especially to talk about mental health. And when you talk
Mhm.
about mental health, people think that you are abnormal, you are not normal at all, we should stay away,
Mhm.
which is not. And people are ashamed to talk about mental
Yes.
their mental health. People are
Mhm.
there are also conversation that people tends to avoid, and even employers are not addressing, the mental health of their employees. So this is something that I feel that more conversation, especially in Asia, we should talk about, and that's why I think that it's very vital during this period of time to invite you onto my show to share about all this mental health and try to have more conversation to share, especially with women. Women are also during the pandemic, I've heard a lot of friends, especially mothers, because of that change in the environment and them working from home at the same time still struggling, still handling their children's home-based learning, because a lot of children will be starting from at home through Zoom and all that, and that causes a lot of stress for them. And I believe that when you talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, right? I believe that has very much to do with the changes that's evolving around them. That suddenly everything is happening at one time. Their husband is back at home, working from home. Everyone is trying to grab their own territory within their home to work and study. I see that there's a lot of stress being brought up. So how would you address such stress? And let me learning from you. Maybe you can share with the audience what are maybe the 3 ways or that we can help to reduce stress.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a great topic, right? Like, I mean, I can go forever about it. Just wanted to look back to what you said, that with the stigma, right? Like I'm with you 100%. This is exactly why I started traveling and speaking about it, because the stigma is still there. Maybe in certain part of the words more than the other, but there's still stigma. Like I like to see that there's more and more, especially in the North America. There's talks about that, and the stigma is lessening, but nevertheless, it's hard to talk about stuff like that, because again, it's a disability, it's an invisible disability, so a lot of people can't comprehend. So the more we know about it, the more we talk about it, the better it's going to be, and a lot of people are going to be understanding that, hey, maybe I have it too, and their mystery is going to be kind of revealed, right? And now they'll know how to combat that, right? And that's gonna, of course, translate to better lives, better families, better themselves, relationships with themselves and such. Going back to what you were saying about how life is different now. Some people who don't understand PTSD may think like, oh yeah, I can just get used to me being home with my kids and my husband and everything. But for a lot of us, there could be a lot more going on, right? We might be looking at a child or a spouse or a family member who is battling depression, right? We might be witnessing traumatic events where they're not dealing well with what's happening. They might be, turning into alcohol or drugs. And there might be, domestic abuse and stuff like that, right? So in those extreme situations, PTSD may develop, right? So how to combat that, how to combat stress, or what to do when you feel like things are really getting out of control in the house, right? So first of all, if it's severe, if it's traumatic, try to seek help, right? Try to talk about it. Don't ever stay with it by yourself and think that you can kind of navigate the situation by yourself. Always look for professionals who can help you through it, right? If the situation is not that severe, and it's more stress related and stuff, I'm a huge advocate about mental health and about self-care. I feel like one and the other, like they're one, right? Like, how do we stay healthy in mind and in spirit and in our body is by taking care of ourselves, right? So find the time for self-care. And it doesn't have to be a lot, right? It starts small, or whatever your environment, whatever your finances, whatever your time allows you to, right? Is it a bubble bath? Is it, watching a good movie? Is it going for a walk? Is it meditating? Is it spending time with your best friend? If you can't see her or him for a cup of coffee, maybe you can do it via Zoom or whatever, right? So list few things down that light you up, and try to pencil those in. I say try. No, it's actually, self-care is non-negotiable. No is a perfect answer. If somebody's asking you and asking you to do too much and you already scheduled your self-care, say no. This is important. This is how you literally are going to survive the whole thing, right? So and thrive at the same time.
Thanks a lot. I like that part where you talk about list the things that makes you happy, and
Yes.
it's like a standby stuff that I do that. I do that because this is what I learned from my healing coach, is that you need to take care of yourself. You need to find things that really makes you happy. You need to have all those as a backup in the event that you need it. It's not like last minute you need to find it, and I like that a lot. And you talk about self-care, and this is something that I have seen a lot in a lot of mothers. They don't really like, mothers being, the maternal love, they always care for other people, especially their kids, other mothers' kids, other parents' kids, their nieces and nephew, their parents. They care about everybody around them except for themselves. They always place themselves last. So because they might not feel that they're worthy. Do you see that? Is that the reason why most mothers are not taking care of themselves that much, because of the self-worth, or maybe the mom's guilt? What's your thought on that, and maybe from your own observation after having clients that is struggling with PTSD, especially the mothers?
Yeah, absolutely. So I see it all over the world. I've seen it in myself. I'm the one who slips there sometimes, and I have to remind myself, right? Because it's a constant reminder, right? And it's the the maternal love comes in, where we're all about giving, we're all about protecting our kids, we're all about, their needs are first. That's nature, right? So I've been there, done that, still doing that, absolutely. And then there is that aspect of deservability, right? But that's a deeper level, right? Do we deserve to have that break? Like, how can we have that break when we have to, take care of all those other members of the family, right? Like, I mean, when do we find the time? Like, I mean, we're always, if we don't prioritize ourselves, we're always going to be the ones who choose ourselves last, right? Because we're naturally givers, right? So if I don't feel like I deserve, because maybe I punished my children today, or I don't feel good about my motherly skills or whatever, I might not feel like I deserve the break. I don't feel like I deserve that time off for a few moments or a day or two, right? So absolutely, it has to do with that. But what I want to say here is that we cannot help anybody if we're not able to do it, right? Because if we're sick, or if we're unable to take care of them because of whatever's going on with us, how are we going to be performing? Right? How can we be a support system to our family if we're unwell, right? So it's like that plane analogy, right? Like, put the mask on yourself first, and then somebody else. So this is going back to self-care. It's non-negotiable. It's, if you want to be the best mom or the best wife or the best, citizen, you do have to make sure that you are at your best. And how are you going to get at your best? When you take care of for yourself, right? So out of the love for your children or your family members, love yourself first enough to be well for them.
Yeah, I how should I put it? Because when you bring up that oxygen mask analogy, when we are in the airplane, so in the event of emergency, when the oxygen mask drop from the airplane, in the airplane, so what will we do? So the instruction is to put it on ourselves before we attend to our kids. But in reality, most mothers or most parents are putting the oxygen mask on their kids to save their kids first. But how can the kids save you? Yeah, so that's the analogy that I always use for mothers who don't feel that they should prioritize themselves. Like you use a very good word, prioritizing yourself before you start thinking of others, because you are the captain of the ship. If you don't be healthy, are not happy, how are you going to ensure that this has been passed down to your children? And that's why a depressed mom or depressed parent will also affect and bring up a depressed kid, right? So this is just spread and energy and all that, and our children can feel it because they are very sensitive creatures. They are very sensitive human being. They can sense our energy when we are depressed, when we are sad, and all this will be transferred to them. And this is very important. I love that airplane analogy, because I use that very often when I start coaching mothers. I share with them, like, why aren't you prioritizing yourself? Why aren't you taking care of yourself? Why aren't you doing things that makes you happy? Because the kids is very simple, right? You don't have to make them happy. They are always happy as long as the mommy don't start scolding them, right? The kids are generally happy. Yeah. So I want to I want to point out something that you mentioned, right? Which is what I hear most for a lot of moms, from mompreneurs, that they have no time. In fact, recently a mom was telling me that, oh, Kenneth, is there a business that I could start with just 2 hours because I have no time? So what would you say about that?
I mean, this is something that comes up all the time when I'm working with clients as well. This is an excuse that I was giving for the longest time as well, right? And then I think I heard Tony Robbins talk about how we always find time or the resources for the things that we must have, right? So time is something that we're in control of. When somebody says that they don't have time, I always say, well, let's look at your schedule. Let's organize you better, right? Because sometimes all it takes is to reorganize, because we are productive on only at certain times of the day, right? The rest we're kind of coasting, right? So if we're very conscious and you know, if we're very deliberate with scheduling, we can find 15, 20, you know, sometimes even hours during the day or weeks, right? Is our life always going to be perfect, that we're going to be having all this time with, you know, the craziness and the hectic lifestyles that we have, and the kids and you know, the dog and the this and the that, right? Like, things are never going to be perfect where we're going to be like, okay, well, as of tomorrow, I'm going to have 5 hours a day that I'm going to have the time for. No, we just have to manufacture it. We just have to organize our lives better. And then boom, when we're very conscious about it, and then we put that intention that this is something that we really are going to be focusing on, let's say our business, right? We will find a time. So it's all about where there's the will, there's a way, right? So it's just deciding that this is what I want to do, and then everything else is gonna kind of fill into place, right?
I thank you for sharing it, and I think this is very, very important for the listeners, especially mothers who always have that in mind, or you keep saying that I have no time, I have so many things to do, I have household chores, I need to wash this, do that, I have to cook, and a lot of stuff. But like exactly what you shared just now is exactly what I also do, is to really run through the schedule. What is the ask them to list down the thing the moment they wake up in the morning to the time that they goes to bed. List down the things that they are doing, and surprisingly, I would say 99.9%, they realize, oh no, I've wasted so much time. Like, all my time have been wasted. And yeah, so there's a lot of ways to work it out. Why is that? So when someone say that I have no time, I have no money, it's because they do not have a clear idea of exactly where they are or what they want. And one more thing that recently I observe or I discover is how much they value the things that they want to do. For example, like between business, starting a business, and also their TV drama. Which one do they value the most? Are you valuing your TV drama more important, or are you valuing your business? So a lot of time, this is about what do you value, because a lot of time being spent on things that they value the most, but it's not productive at all. It's not the things that they want. Like they can spend a lot of time onto e-commerce shopping, but they do not want to invest that time to do something that they think they wanted. And that's where they do not, and that's where they realize that, hey, in fact, I do not need to even start a business. Because they do not know what are their priorities. And then there is where you talk about, and there's also something that you talk about in your book, is also to finding your passion, finding your power, passion, and purpose. And this is where I realized that a lot of time, a lot of mothers, a lot of women, they do not know what they want. They think that they wanted to start a business, but is that something that they want? And like you mentioned, when the desire and when the priority is there, they would make it happen. When there's a will, there's a way, right? So a lot of time I realized that they always think that they wanted this, like they want to start a business, they wanted to earn the money, they want to do something to help more people, but is that something that they really truly want? So how does it link to your book, and why do you say that it's important to find their passion, their power, and purpose back?
So I do want to answer that, and then I want to kind of go back to what you were talking about, the time factor, right? So why do I feel like it's important to find your power, passion, and purpose in general, if it's back or you just searching for it, right? I feel like if you want to feel fulfilled, if you want to feel like you really accomplished something in life, right? It doesn't have to be that you have to have a biggest house. It doesn't have to be that you have to be a superstar, celebrity, or anything, but kind of leaving a legacy, right? Like if it's only for your children, or for, you know, your closest family, or your community, right? It's something that I feel we all long for. Like this is something that we're searching for, and we're asking ourselves at certain areas of our lives, or certain moments of our lives, that we're like, why is this all for, right? Like why am I a mom? Why am I a wife? Like, what's this all for? I'm exhausted. I don't have time for myself. What am I doing this for? Like, you know, so it's so when you actually find your purpose, then, you know, your power will follow, your passion will follow, right? So that's to that. But if you don't mind, I'm going to go back to the time factor, right? Because I hear it with my clients when they're like, well, easier said than done, right? Like, what if that happens when I'm like, I don't want to adult today. I don't want to be a businesswoman today, or this week, or this month, or this year. Like, how do I snap out of that? Like, how do I prioritize my business versus watching the soap operas, right? Or you know, something on TV or whatever. And I always lead them back to, what is your why, right? Like every time when I was struggling, every time I struggle now, I look at things that led me to why I started my whole journey, right? And usually it's my kids, right? When I, you know, want to be depressed, or when I don't want to be, you know, thriving in my business, or, you know, even the smaller things, I'm always understanding that you can tell kids what they want to hear or what we want them to do, but they will not do it. They're always watching us, right? So it's so whenever I want to quit, I always look at who's watching. And that gives me the biggest boost, right? So if I say I don't have time, I'm like, okay, so if my son was here and he was struggling with that, and he was giving me the excuse, because it is an excuse, I don't have time, what would I tell him? Would I be like, oh yeah, well, I couldn't really say anything because I was the same? Or would I say, hey, remember when mom was going through this and that? Was this an excuse, or what did I do, right? So it's all about them looking at us and us showing them the way. And this is, I think it's really important for us to kind of, when we're struggling, because we are going to struggle. There's no like perfect formula for running a business or anything in life. We're all going to struggle. How to finally get us out of that funk, right? So that's something that I think it's really important to mention. And another thing is deservability again, right? Like a lot of people are stopped in their tracks because they're like, well, why would I want to do this business? Is like, who am I? Like, why would people listen to me? Like, why would people think that my product is the best? Or why would I like, so it's like that self-doubt, right? And that can stem from childhood or previous traumas or depression or whatever it is, right? But it's like, do I deserve to be happy? Do I deserve to be successful? Do I deserve to have a really good business, right? So sorry, long-winded answer, but I thought this is really important because this comes up with when I'm coaching clients. It's like, okay, easier said than done, Anna. Give me the how, right? So
Yeah, I like that. And it is perfectly all right, because this is also the I would say one of the core reason why people are not doing what they want to do is because it boils down to the why. And also why, this is what I also discovered in recent years when I start coaching moms, is that why are they looking for a way out through business? Why? And not going back to work and not staying at home as a stay-at-home mom. And it boils down to something that you pointed out, is fulfillment. Because recently I talked to a mother, and then she was the one who asked me, oh, Kenneth, I have no time, only have 2 hours to run the business. What would you suggest? And a lot of time I always believe that it's never about the business. It's always about what you want to do. And she was like, she questioned herself back, what do I want to do? Because that was my first question. What do you want to do? What do you hope to achieve? She was like, she was like having difficulty saying out. And that's the problem. And she was telling me, oh, I've been starting this business and I'm not seeing any result at all. I said, what do you mean by result? Who is the one that is qualifying you or validating you on that? And she has a lot of difficulty saying, it's me. It's herself. And you talk about being the role model. Like, what if your child tells you, hey, mommy, I have no time. I can't do this, I can't do that. And you said something that is very important. If I have done it, I've overcome it, I've taken these excuses away, my children will see what I do, not what I say. And that's why a lot of parents are having problems disciplining their kids, because they are not congruent with what they say. They don't they don't walk the talk. They always talk the talk. And this doesn't really just apply to parenting. It applies to corporate, being as a superior, and also telling your staff what they need to do, but you are not doing the things that you are telling them to do. So it boils down to always the same, being the role model, and that is exactly, I would say you nailed it, because parents, mothers, we are all role models for our children, because they don't hear kids being kinesthetic human beings. They learn through kinesthetic way. They learn by seeing what we do, and if we are not a good role model, they will just be that model that you show it to them rather than you talk about it, because they are basically what I call photocopier. They copy us really, really fast. Every gesture, every word we say, it's the same. Like my daughter sits the way I sit, the way my wife speaks. So this is amazing when you talk about it. And just now you talk about the why. Do you face someone who asks you, I do not know why? Do you have clients that comes to you and ask you, Anna, I do not know my why? And what would you react to them?
Yeah. Well, I would like to take them through a series of exercises, right? And asking questions. So what lights you up, right? Like, what is it that you're passionate about? And a lot of times they're like, I don't know. And that tells me that they're so bogged down, right? That tells me that they're so overwhelmed, right? That they're not really even thinking clearly, because they can't even see what it is that they're passionate about. They don't even know what makes them pleasure anymore. And that's tragic, right? So I asked them to take time off, right? To, and again, it's that time factor. And I'm like, well, are you happy with where you are right now? Do you feel happy with not knowing what gives you pleasure, right? And they're like, absolutely not. And I'm like, so how important is it for you to start feeling that again? And they're like, well, very important. I'm like, okay, so this is what you need to do. You actually need to take time to yourself, right? Go. I'm a huge believer in being in nature. I get a lot of connection, when I'm unplugged outside of the social media and the chaos of life, right? So go for a walk, right? Like 15 minutes a day, just be quiet, right? Like take time and pause. And then when you start doing those things that your body and your mind can kind of regenerate, then you're going to start having ideas, right? Always put an intention, right? Like, I want to start feeling better, or I want to start knowing what my purpose is, or I want to start feeling happy, right? And then stay with that intention, but also do stuff like I said, the small little things, right? I remember when I was going through very, very hard time, and I was so depressed and so devastated that I literally needed moments of the day, and I needed to remind myself that I was safe, that I had that, the practicing gratitude, that it was so hard to find because life wasn't good at that point. So what I've decided, I would promise myself that every time I see the color red anywhere, if it's on a car or on a picture or on a shirt or whatever, I would stop and say 3 things that are positive in my life right now. And sometimes it was as like, I got out of bed, I had a cup of coffee, and I'm alive. And then every time I would see that color red, I would keep repeating those things that would come to my head, that what's positive in my life, because it was hard to find anything, right? So all those little exercises that we can do to kind of get ourselves to a different level, and then from that level, we need to have a vision. We need to know what it is that we want. It's like, my mentor always said that you can't travel from Singapore to KL by car if you don't have a map, right? Like, if you were just kind of checking and going, whatever, you would get there, but it's going to take you a lot longer than where you have a map or GPS nowadays, when you plug it in, from point A to point B. The same thing in life, right? If we want to have something in life, we need to first have a vision that this is what we want. We might not need to know all the steps, and we probably won't know the steps. And this is why particularly businesses fail, because people are like, I don't know how to get there. So they stop right in their tracks, right? But the power is in having the intention and knowing what it is that we want, the end goal. And then another very powerful thing is deciding, like, I am going to do it no matter what, right? And sticking with it, and then moving with it. And sometimes, like, even from my own example, when I've decided on something, the universe opens up. It's like there's such a power in decision, right? That if I decided, like, miracles were happening, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy, right? Because I set that intention that I am going to do it. And then how do I get all the things in between? Mentors and coaches. I was always looking for someone who have created the results that I wanted, and I would follow them. I would listen to them. I would participate in their talks, so whatever, right? I would hire coaches, right? So it's like, it's those hows to get from point A to point B. That's all figure-outable, right? But it's like just knowing that this is what I want, deciding, right? And then finding mentors. And the mentors don't have to be, you know, hired professionals. Like, I mean, you can listen to podcasts, you can read books. Like Tony Robbins is one of my biggest mentors, and I've never met the guy, but he changed my life, right? Same thing with Dr. Wayne Dyer. Like, I mean, when I was going through a lot of growth in my life, I would listen to Wayne Dyer constantly. Never met the guy, but he made like one of the biggest impacts of, you know, in how I am right now, right? So.
Wow, that is a lot of really, I
A
would
lot,
say,
yes.
a lot of powerful nuggets that I picked up. I believe that the audience who are listening or even watching the replay, wow, you guys need to write notes. So you need to rewind this a bit. I like the part, and I realized that why I can do what I do today. It all boils down to decision, and that decision started from the point that I went to the boot camp that you were there. And the first thing that we did, right? What did we do? I am an author, right? And that was that. Like nothing goes, and we need to publish that to tell the whole freaking world that we are going to be the author of upcoming book. It's like that decision. When you talk about that intent and decision, and I when I connect to a lot of people who are lost, who have no direction at all, it's because we are so used to be led by people in corporation, being an employee, even at home, even in the family. Our parents say A, we will just do A, and we are just mainly following people's instruction. And when it's time for us to take charge, we do not know what to do. We do not know what our intention. We have never set intention before, and we have never really decided anything on our own. And that is very much that I could relate with, because in Singapore, our government is take care of a lot of things for us. We are basically very spoon-fed, and that's why during the pandemic, I can see that a lot of people are lost because there's no direction, because even the government is facing this for the first time. Nobody has experienced this before. So that's why everybody is lost, and it boils down to the intention and also decision. But I find that whatever you share just now is also the reason why we are talking about why is it important to get back your power, your passion, and your purpose. Because if you have these three, right, you can navigate through a lot of obstacles, like we just mentioned, and having mentors, having people who has been there, done that, have achieved what we wanted to achieve, that became the guide. They became our guide. Like I always talk about, like you talk about the map, I talk about the GPS. If you do not know where you want to go, where is your point B, even I'm a GPS, I can't help you to go there. You still need to figure it out yourself. And that is where you talk about intention and the decision. So like today, I'm going to go from point A to point B, and point B is going to be this. And you have decided that you want to go to point B. You're not going to other place like point C, point D, but you're going to point B. And that's where you set the intention to go there. And you need a guide, which is a mentor or a coach. That's where we ask a lot of questions, right? Like, what do you want to do? Where you want to go? What is your end game? Yeah, so a lot of stuff that we are doing. So having said that, what would you think that is the biggest challenge for mothers to start their own business? What do you think is the biggest challenge or struggles that mom have difficulties in starting their business?
Can I be absolutely honest?
Of course. That's where you are here.
Yeah, and this is coming from my own personal experience, is excuses, right? I mean, we're not true to ourselves. We're making excuses in front of ourselves that we don't have the time, we're too busy, now is not the right time, the kids are small, the kids are, you know, big, we're not getting along with our husbands, we're not getting along with our parents, whatever it might be. There's always excuses, right? So why don't people not move forward with anything, but, you know, in this relation with their businesses, is those excuses, right? So that's a huge one. The second one is that deservability, right? Do I deserve, or why would people listen to me? Like, who am I to say? Who am I to do this, right? So that's a big one, again, right? But I feel it's like, do I if I really want it, then it's going to be a must, and I am going to do it, and all those excuses are going to go away, right?
Yeah.
It's all figure outable.
Thanks for sharing that. That is the biggest challenge and struggles for mothers, which is excuses. So for those who are listening, remember to stop all your excuses, because if your why is strong, if you know what you want, all your excuses will be down the drain, right?
Yes.
And the way to overcome excuses, or to stop excuses, is to be more resourceful. This is what I realized. Over the past 4 years, like when I started the journey of writing a book, how do I make it happen, right? I have to be more resourceful. I get sponsors, I get a guide, I get a mentor. I see someone and a fellow author that has been there, done that, and is doing what I'm doing. I learn from him. I do what he do. I follow what he did, and I get the same result, or maybe better. And then I wanted to reach out to more people. I did this podcast 3 years ago. I never knew how to do it. I figured it out along the way. I went into a lot of technical problems during the live show. That's where I came up with the whole system. And after doing it for maybe 50 episodes, I'm still having hiccups. I'm still having problems. I'm still having some technical problems. Sometimes with the guest, there's no audio at all. I still face it. But now, as of now, even after doing 92 episodes, I'm still nervous. I'm still a lot of things. So it's about how resourceful we are and how we can make things happen. And what you mentioned is what is the intention? What is this intention of running this podcast? What is your intention of your book, Banned Not Broken? What is your intention? What do you want to do? The most important thing boils down to, what do you want to do, and is that something that you want to do? So thanks a lot for sharing, and time really flies. I really got so engrossed in having this conversation with you. I love all the golden nuggets that you are sharing with me. So maybe you can share with us, what is your biggest challenge as a mompreneur for yourself?
Kind of dissolving those excuses, right? Because I mean, life happens, I get tired, I get pulled in so many directions, right? So kind of staying focused and staying true to who I am and what it is that I want to do, staying connected to my vision, right? Because that's where I get the power from, right? When I know that I can actually help other people, when I help that I can impact and really make a change in the world. I mean, who am I to stop that, right? So it's like kind of like when I'm in doubt, or when I want to kind of bail out, or I just want to take a break or whatever. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with, taking a break or whatever, but take a longer break, or like kind of sitting in that, well, do I deserve this? Do I, what if I succeed? Like, what then? Like, is my husband's going to look at me differently because now I'm going to have, all this fulfillment, this money coming in and stuff like that? Or what if I fail, right? The same thing, right? Like, I mean, we're scared of failing, right? So it's all that chatter that I have to kind of say enough. And there's always, like, even if I'm in the midst of it, I always put an end date to it, right? Okay, so today I'm going to be feeling sorry for myself for about half a day, and then I move over, right? And then I move forward. So it's just kind of getting rid of those excuses in a timely fashion.
After you have shared so much, right, and that really brings me to one thing that which is fulfillment. Like, a lot of people are not fulfilled. If you're not feeling the sense of fulfillment in your job, then maybe you might want to try out entrepreneurship. You might want to try out other things that will make you fulfilled. You can still juggle your corporate job and something that you want to do, maybe for a purpose, and also something that you have vision about it. And that is why a lot of mompreneurs that I connected with, they are very clear of their vision. They are very clear of their intention. They're also very clear on the decision that they made, and they will do whatever it takes to make it happen. And never to forget that they will seek mentorship. They will seek guidance from coaches and all that stuff. And I guess that today we have touched a very, very strong part, is to find back that power, that passion and purpose, because these three align. And when you find a purpose, you find your why, and you find the reason why you're living, why you are on this earth. And that is very important. And that is something that that's where fulfillment is. If once you get your power back, get your passion back, you found your purpose, and you understand that, and that will complete that fulfillment, the sense of fulfillment in your life. And that is where, regardless of whether you're rich or poor, the sense of fulfillment always comes first, especially if you went through a lot of traumatic experience. Even like for me, you went through depression, and things happen for a reason. And I always believe that things always happen for a good. Happen for good. And when you believe in that, you will find a sense of fulfillment. Like what we are doing now, I feel fulfilled because you have shown me the direction. I feel fulfilled that 92 mompreneurs have agreed to be interviewed and share their story. So this is where the intention is coming from. And I thank you very much for sharing all that. And last but not least, how can the audience get connected with you, Anna?
So they can email me, straight to my inbox at Anna at annadowe.com, or go to my website at www.bentnotbroken.ca. So this is the handler for Canada. So my email is .com, Anna at annadowe.com, but my website is bentnotbroken.ca.
Wow, thank you so much, Anna, for sharing that. For those who are watching the replay, or you're watching it or listening to the podcast, you can always go to the description. I've added Anna's contact details and also how you can connect with her in the description. So last but not least, Anna, now it's your turn for you to ask and post the question of the day out to the audience and also to the next guest. So what will be your question of the day?
That's a good one. I have so many questions, but you're challenging me here to one. So, So why don't we go with what is one thing that if we could do today to get you closer to your goal, what would that be? One thing that can get you closer to your goal. Is it a business, or being a better mom, or whatnot? There's only one thing. What would that be?
Okay, so I repeat the question of the day from you, which is, what is that one thing we can do to get closer to our goal? Can I say that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the question of the day posted by Anna is, what is that one thing that we can do, or you can do, to get closer to your goal? Okay. So this question of the day goes out to the audience who are tuning in, or those who are watching the replay, and also to the next guest. So thank you, Anna, for sharing with us and with so much golden nuggets, and what's your whole journey like, and how can mothers benefit from this conversation, from this session. So thank you very much. And what will be your last advice for the mothers who are sitting on the fence thinking whether they should start their business or not?
It's simple. It's like the Nike slogan, just do it. There's no other way around it. You can dream about it, you can think about it, you can fantasize about it, you can be scared about the whole journey. But if you are serious, if you are on the fence, just do it. It's not going to be pretty all the time, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. So that would be my one advice.
Thank you so much, Anna, for sharing it. And for those mothers who are thinking, stop thinking and just do it, like what Anna has shared with us. So thanks a lot, Anna, for coming onto my show, Mompreneur Space live show. And thanks for those who are tuning in live, especially for those who are still live with us, you can leave us a chat, or you have any question for Anna. Anna would love to answer it after this session. Okay, so last but not least, I'm Kenneth here signing off with Anna. Thank you guys for watching and listening to Mompreneur Space live show, where I interview mompreneurs from all around the world, sharing how they overcome their challenges and struggles as mompreneurs. So thank you very much, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Bye.
Bye.